The holographic display flickered as Ambassador Elena Rodriguez stepped into the grand chamber of the Galactic Arbitration Council. 7,000 years of hatred hung in the air like a toxic cloud, radiating from the two opposing delegations, seated at opposite ends of the crystalline amphitheater. On the left sat the Kethmori, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming under the chamber's artificial suns. Their mandibles clicked in rhythmic patterns, a sign of barely contained aggression. On the right, the Veltaran delegation maintained their characteristic stoic silence, their translucent blue skin pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that any galactic diplomat would recognize as contempt. For 7 millennia, these two species had waged war across 14 star systems. Entire worlds had been reduced to ash, billions of lives lost, and the galactic economy crippled by the endless conflict. The most brilliant minds of a dozen species had attempted mediation. All had failed. Elena was humanity's first representative to the Council, her species having achieved faster-than-light travel only 3 decades prior. The other delegates, Zephyrians, Alterans, and Centauri Collective members, watched with polite skepticism as she approached the mediation platform. What could this newcomer possibly accomplish where others had failed? Honored delegates, Elena began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustic amplifiers. Before we discuss treaties or territorial disputes, I have a question for both sides. High Commander Zek Thul of the Kethmori delegation bristled, his forearms spreading in an aggressive display. Human, you know nothing of our struggle. The Veltaran murdered our colonies. After your people poisoned our sacred breeding grounds, interrupted Matriarch Silwina, her bioluminescence flashing angry crimson patterns. Elena raised her hand, and something in her gesture commanded immediate silence. It wasn't authority in the traditional sense. She held no military power, commanded no fleets. It was something else entirely, something the galactic powers had forgotten in their millennia of technological advancement. I said I had a question, Elena continued calmly. Not a statement. My question is this. Do either of you remember why this war began? The chamber fell silent. It was such a simple query that it caught everyone off guard. High Commander Zekthul's mandibles twitched. The Veltaran killed our ambassador 7,000 years ago during peace negotiations. The Kethmori assassin struck first, Matriarch Silwina countered. Our historical records are clear. Elena nodded slowly. So you both agree that it started during peace negotiations. Someone died. But tell me, and I want you to think carefully about this, what were those original peace negotiations about? Another silence, longer this time. Elena could see the delegates accessing their historical databases through neural implants, searching through millennia of records. The original dispute was... High Commander Zekthul paused, his biological computers processing vast amounts of data. Over mining rights, Matriarch Silwina finished, her skin pattern shifting to a confused purple. Mining rights to the Korath system. Ah, Elena said with a slight smile. And tell me, what happened to the Korath system? The revelation hit both sides simultaneously. The Korath system had been destroyed in the first century of their war, obliterated, when a Kethmori dreadnought had destabilized the system's star in a desperate attempt to deny it to their enemies. The very thing they had been fighting over had ceased to exist 7,000 years ago. But that doesn't matter now, High Commander Zekthul protested. They killed millions of our people. After you glassed our homeworld's moon, Matriarch Silwina shot back. Elena stepped forward, her expression growing serious. You're both right. Terrible things have happened. Unforgivable things. But here's what I've learned from humanity's own bloody history. And we've had plenty of blood. Trust me. The question isn't who struck first or who hurt more. The question is, what do you want your children to inherit? She gestured to the holographic display, which she had programmed to show the current devastation across both species' territories. Ruined worlds, refugee camps, depleted resources, stagnant populations. Look around you, Elena continued. While you've been locked in this eternal dance of vengeance, the rest of the galaxy has moved on, New trade routes have developed that bypass your territories entirely. Younger species are colonizing worlds you could have claimed. The Zephyrians have established a mining empire that makes the old Korath deposits look like pocket change. She paused, letting the implications sink in. You're not just destroying each other anymore. You're making yourselves irrelevant. The truth of her words resonated through the chamber. Both species had once been galactic powers. Their technologies and cultures influential across dozens of systems. Now they were footnotes, their energies consumed by mutual destruction. I propose something different, Elena said, activating a new holographic display. Not peace. I think that's too much to ask after 7 millennia. But a cessation of hostilities based on pragmatic self-interest. The display showed star charts, resource allocations, trade potential. Elena had done her homework during the 3-month journey to the council station. The Kethmori excel at atmospheric engineering. The Velteran are the galaxy's finest biotech developers. Together, you could terraform and populate worlds at a rate that would make the other powers take notice. Separately, you'll continue your slow fade into galactic insignificance. High Commander Zekthul and Matriarch Silwena exchanged glances, the first direct acknowledgement between their species in centuries. You ask us to work with our blood enemies, the Matriarch said softly. I ask you to choose the future over the past, Elena replied. Your ancestors are dead, your children are alive, which matters more? The negotiations took 3 more days, but Elena had done something that the galaxy's greatest diplomats could not. She hadn't tried to heal the wound or assign blame. She had simply made it irrelevant. 6 months later, the first joint Kethmori-Velteran colony ship launched toward the Outer Rim. Within 2 years, their combined technologies had revolutionized terraforming across the galaxy. The ancient enemies became the galaxy's newest economic powerhouse. And humanity, barely 3 decades into their galactic presence, suddenly found themselves with the most valuable currency in the cosmos, the respect of beings who thought they knew everything about power. The galaxy would never be the same.